Hey guys, it's Gold Jr. back with another video that I'm going to today. This time we're going over my teams of 2023 in Pokemon, of course. Now, last 2 years I've done this, or in my other channel, Gold Jr., which you should check out. This is Gold Jr. Plus. You should check my other channel, Gold Jr. out. On my first, in 2021, I had like a ton of teams, like around 6 to go through. Last year I had 3 to go through. And this year I only have 2 to go through. But don't worry, I'm pretty sure I'll have way more teams to go over in my 2024 Pokemon teams. But this should be not too long. But, yeah, let's get right into it. This is my second Pokemon Violet playthrough to start. I already think I talked about my first Pokemon Violet playthrough. This is my second one. And we're going to start with Penyo the Skeledirge. Before I move on, I do want to mention that I, did something different this time. I decided that instead of just using the normal 6 Pokemon, since you can switch Pokemon out of your boxes at any time, I decided to use as many Pokemon as I felt like. So it could be anywhere from 7 to 20, if that's what I wanted to do. But we'll see the total later. But Penyo Skeledirge, I used Meowscarada in my first playthrough, so I wanted to use Skeledirge this time since he was my second favorite. And he had the normal ability, Snarl, which to be honest was kind of mid. I think I never used it over Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, which was a good stab move. Torch Song, which was actually really good. And Hyper Voice. I'm rating Penyo a 9 out of 10. Sweeping was easy with the Throat Spray. Like when I got that, it was actually very useful because you could Torch Song or Hyper Voice. And then boom, get, like, no, really Torch Song. Because if you Torch Song, and then with the Throat Spray, you get your special attack doubles. And then if you use that, and then if you Terra after, you're doing insane damage with Torch Song. Throat Spray is one of the best items for regular. I know it's great and competitive too, but it's really good for sweeping teams. He may be the best starter for playthroughs. Like, I never had an easier experience than just using Penyo, the Skeledirge, and just easily sweeping through the first 2 gyms, and then Grusha, and then some of the Elite Four. It's just a really fun, kind of honestly easier just because I used him. Next, we got Ledecky, the Shiny Floatzel. Her name was based off of some sort of swimmer. No idea who. I made this name like early. I don't say early. I'll say mid 2023. So I have no idea where I got the name from. But Ledecky, I don't know. She looks like a Ledecky. But she has Swift Swim, Ice Spinner, which was just a good ice type move. Liquidation, which was the main move I used for most of the game. Bite and Wave Crash, which Wave Crash was the if I wanted to do big damage move. Well, with drawbacks, of course. I gave her a 7 out of 10. I never really rate my Floatzels that high. They just don't have much coverage, and even with High Spinner, I barely ever used it. And it was just a basic one. It was a good water type though, just one problem. But we'll talk about that other water type later. Third Pokemon was Raxi the Gardevoir. She had Synchronize. This is my second time ever using Gardevoir. The last time I used it was back in 2021 when I used it in my Omega Ruby playthrough. But she had Focus Blast, Moon Blast, which I don't know why I spaced out the Moon and Blast because I'm pretty sure it's one Moon in Pokemon. But Thunderbolt and Psychic, I gave her a 7.5 out of 10. She was above average, and she had a really nice moveset, but I never really used her much. Like, she was fine, but, like, I don't really know. I never used Gardevoirs much. Like, maybe just because I prefer physical attackers, but her ability was nice. Her moves usually did big damage. Just wasn't anything crazy, especially because I have a lot of better members on this team. Well, not a lot. This is one of them. Next, we got Freya Haxorus, based off of Freya from God of War, of course, which I have no idea why I named her that. I don't think Freya has anything to do with dragons, but, I mean, big axe, and then she had, like, a sword, I guess, so. Mold Breaker, her moves were close combat. Dragon Dance, which I didn't use that much, but when I did, it worked. I mean, close combat, though, really useful. Iron Head and Dragon Claw as my Dragon-type move, since this thing has insane, attacks. I was originally give it a Draco Meteor. I rate her at 8 out of 10. She was strong and surprisingly fast. She proved why the Dragon type was so good in Gen 5, just wished it evolved earlier. I mean, I remember, at least in competitive, Dragon types dominated Gen 5, which is why they introduced the Fairy type in the first place, because it literally, like, obliterated the competitive scene. Haxorus, Hydreigon, I'm probably missing a ton, but yeah, those are just a couple of examples. Um, I know Hexus was that fast. I knew it was strong, but 147 base attack is still really insanely good. And it has like 97 speed, I think, so it's not slow either. It's a really good Pokemon, so I was having used the Hexus earlier, especially considering how cool it looks. The only thing is that it took pretty long to get it from a Fracture, and honestly, I have no memories of using this thing as an Axew or a Fracture. Like, it was mostly just standing on the sidelines until I evolved it, but it was immediately worth it. As you can see, we've gone through 4 Pokemon and about to get to the 5th. Next, we got Noah and Emma the Mousehold. It could just barely fit this name, so this is the first time I've ever named Pokemon based off of 2 people. Noah and Emma based off of Total Drama. Yeah, watch Total Drama. It's good. Zongless Race, specifically. Their ability was Cheek Pouch, which I don't think I ever used because I just kept loaded dice. Was it loaded dice or Scopeland? It was some sort of thing. But Play Rough for coverage, Protect. I don't even remember using Protect that much, but I think I used it to scout sometimes. Population Bomb and Hyper Beam if I wanted just to guarantee one hit KO, but I didn't use it that much. But 7.6 out of 10. This is the only Pokemon that I rated not a whole number or a 0.5. Because I wanted to rank it just higher than Gardevoir to emphasize that it was better than Gardevoir, but it wasn't quite an 8 out of 10. Population Bomb was literally like, I feel like out of all my teammates, this Pokemon is the one I use only one move the most for. Like, I spammed Population Bomb. It's super OP, especially because I still remember which item. I don't remember. But it's an item that basically guarantees it hits 10 times. I get a Scope Lens, though. And it's super OP. Like, Mousehold's really good. The only thing is that Ghost Trial, no reason to use it. So a lot of Pokemon resist it. But, like, when it was used, it was really good. Missile, the Mabosstiff Missile is from, actually, Ace Attorney, where the creator's dog name was Missile. I don't know why I'm calling him Missile, it's just Missile. But he had Intimidate as his ability, gave him Thunderfang, Reversal, Crunch, and Home Claws. I'm pretty sure I pretty much only used Thunderfang and Reversal on this thing, though. I gave him a 7 out of 10. He's a traditional good physical attacker with Intimidate as an added bonus. He was nothing crazy. He was just a good Pokemon. I really only used him if he had a type advantage. Like, he wasn't a guy... Like, if I had to go against a bunch of Pokemon that didn't have a type advantage... I have a type advantage against, Missile would probably not be on the starting lineup. But he was still very good. Next, we got Gaia the Gyarados. She had Intimidate, along with Ice Fang. Also, I don't know what Gaia was her name. Play of or like a reference to. I don't know. But she had Ice Fang for coverage. Giga Impact, which if I just want to get big damage off. Crunch and Waterfall as her main attack. I gave her 7.5, which is honestly pretty low for what I expected from my Gyarados. But she was the better water type. It was from double Intimidate with it and Mabosstiff. Like, the one reason I couldn't rank it highly was because I got her pretty late. I just found the Gyarados and it ran into me and I was like, okay, I guess I'm catching it now. So, yeah, that's how Gaia was invited to the team. It was kind of hard to rate either her or Ledecky very higher because they were both interchanged. Whenever I was like, oh yeah, I used this one last, so I'll switch out this one. They're barely on the team together because they're both water types, so the only time I ever use them both was when I was going against something specifically to counter a type that water was strong against. But the main plus was just, if I had a strong Pokemon, if I was underleveled and I was going against a strong Pokemon, I would bring him a Mabosstiff and switching Gaia. If I could take another hit, switching Mabosstiff again, boom, that's 3 Intimidates. But that's pretty much what she was used most for, besides just getting big physical damage. Is this last? No, it's not. Next we got Cayenne, which I completely spelled wrong. The Skull Villain, and I never bothered to fix it, so that was just her name. It's based off Cayenne Pepper, but it's not even close to the correct spelling, I remember. She had Chlorophyll. Was it a boy? I think it was a girl. Not sure. But, she had Flamethrower, which of course was the move I used the most. Bullet Seed, Zen Headbutt, and Sunny Day. She actually is one of the, maybe the lowest rating in this entire video. I gave her a 6.5 out of 10. She wasn't bad, but I already had a amazing 9 out of 10 fire coverage in Skeledirge. So, like one of her types were completely knocked off. And then for the grass, I already had two water types, so the grass wasn't used much. It just really wasn't. The time I ever used her if it was specifically against water types, and it didn't even resist water. So she was not bad, but she wasn't used barely ever. Finally, we got Viola the Shiny Bear Tick. Now, I had two shinies in this playthrough. That's what I made my average for playthroughs, how many shinies I find. I gave her, and she already had Slush Rush. She also had Snowscape for snow, because that actually is really good now. Heavy Slam, Brick Break, and Ice Punch as his main attack. I gave her a 7 out of 10. She was a great Pokemon held by weak type. Being, like, Ice just isn't very good unless you have, like, something good beside it, like Fire or Ghost. She didn't bring anything new to the team. It's because of her typing. I mean, what is it strong to? Ground, I had coverage for that already. Grass, I had coverage for that already. I think I'm missing something, but maybe I'm not. No, I'm pretty sure it's showing more types than that. Flying. Do they have coverage for that? Maybe not. That's probably the only thing I used her for. But she doesn't resist any types, which is also a pretty big issue. But overall, she like her stats really carried her. She was good despite of her type, not because of it. And that ends this team portion. I ended up having 9 Pokemon on this team. I shall go back and say which ones I would have like on a normal. Like, what did you expect on my team? So I'll probably have Skeledirge on it. Probably a Mousehold, Haxorus. It's kind of hard to tell. But probably Gyarados and Gardevoir. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I guess either Beartic or Bostiff. It's kind of hard to tell, but I switched them out a lot. Tried to keep all of them at a good level, and it went out pretty well. I gave this team a 7.5 out of 10. I also kind of calculated it based off their average ratings, and it was like 7.45. So yeah, first time using more than 6 Pokemon. Many first timers, including Beartic, Cayenne, Mousehold, Malastic, a ton of first timers. But a lot of the teams was outclassed by similar types. For example, Cayenne and Ledecky were replaced. I mean, not replaced, but outclassed by Skeledirge and Gyarados, respectively. But Noah and Emma, Peño, and Freya were literally team sweepers. Like, they consistently knocked out 2 or 3 Pokemon in their battles. Next, we got Pokemon Scarlet, which was my first ever playthrough. So yeah, I played in the 2 years of Pokemon Scarlet existing, Scarlet Violet, I beat it 3 times so far. And well, that's not a lot compared to like YouTubers. I think this is the most I've ever beaten the game in 2 years. Because Pokemon Sun, for the first 2 years I had that game, I didn't know how to reset, so I didn't play it multiple times. I beat it and then played a bunch of post games. So this is the most I've ever played in 2 years. But specifically for Violet, this is my first ever playthrough. We got Ripley the Quaquaval. He had Torrent along with Close Combat, Brave Bird, Aqua Step, and Rain Dance. A really strong moveset. I give him 8 out of 10 as probably the worst starter out of the 3, but definitely above average. Now, saying his worst starter out of the 3 is not an insult. It's just that for playthroughs, Peño is obviously the best. Torch Song is the best move out of the 3. Fire Ghost is the best typing out of the 3. And he like fits the best with the gym leaders out of the 3. Meowscarada was fast, strong, and then guaranteed critical hits with Flower Trick is really good. While Quaquaval had pretty decent typing. Honestly, his best move wasn't that good because you're outspeeding most of the time with Aqua Step anyway. But Close Combat was useful. But I'm telling you, 8 out of 10 is above average. 7 out of 10 is around average for each of these Pokemon. So having an 8 is definitely above average. Next, we got Carnage the Armarouge. He had Flash Fire as his ability, which actually came in clutch a couple times, along with Armor Cannon, which is basically Fire-type special close combat, Will-O-Wisp, which I barely used, Psychic Terrain, which I barely used, and Expanding Force. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Great, but not better than Cerulege. I'm sorry, I just prefer Bitter Blade healing me than Armor Cannon doing slightly more damage, but not slightly, but like decent amount more damage, but also lowering my attack. And special attacks, if I have a one-shot, I'm taking huge damage back. I barely used anything besides Armor Cannon, though, because never had a reason to use Will-O-Wisp or Psychic Terrain outside double battles and Expanding Force, so it's alright. But I mean, Armor Camp is just way better. It has a high rating because of how good Armor Rouge was. I'm pretty sure it swept the fire ice gym really easily. As soon as it evolves, which you can evolve it really, I got evolved there around level 23. Like as soon as I got a good amount of momentum on my playthrough, I got this thing evolved, and it was immediately a team carrier, which is why it has a pretty high rating. Next we have Pajamas the Tinkaton. When I start, my bad. When I first started this playthrough, I did not think I was going to use a Tinkaton, but I ended up seeing a Tinkatuff, which was higher level than the rest of my team. I was like, why not? Let's get a powerful Pokemon in this squad. She had Mold Breaker, along with Gigaton Hammer, Foul Play, Rock Smash, and Play Rough. I gave her an 8 out of 10. She was obviously really strong with Gigaton Hammer and surprisingly fast, and played with it pretty well as well, but I mean, the great thing is that you could use Gigaton Hammer and then immediately strike back with a Play Rough. The reason I didn't, I don't know, there just wasn't anything crazy about using Gigaton Hammer was nice and having the best type in the game, but I just never felt like it was my main option for a lot of gym battles. Maybe because this is mediocre attack stat, but I mean, it was great. Like, 8 out of 10 is good, but I didn't feel like it really stood out in any way outside of one move. And next we got Bijan the Lucario. He had Inner Focus, which, I did not say what these names were based off of. Ripley, no idea. Carnage was based off of, obviously, Carnage. Pajamas, I don't know, I guess I just thought she was wearing pajamas. And Bijan, obviously, from Bijan Robinson on the Falcons. Falcons are my favorite team. Lucario's my favorite Pokemon. They merged to form Bijan the Lucario. His moves are Close Combat, Meteor Mash, Dragon Pulse, and Bone Rush. I gave him a 7.5 out of 10. Of course, as a Pokemon, Lucario was a beast, but he was outclassed as a Steel and Fighting type by Tinkaton and sometimes Quaquaval. I wanted to use a Fighting type, Lucario in Pokemon 9th Gen, so I decided this week to play through to do it. This was like the worst time to do it. Should have done it when I didn't have a Steel or a Fighting type, but I had both in this playthrough. So, even though Lucario was good, he felt out of place for this team. But Bone Rush was pretty good. Of course, Close Combat did a ton of damage. And Dragon Pulse was fine at times. Next, we got Mikey the Leafeon, which I'm slowly getting through every evolution. And I've used most of them. But, I still have some that I've never beat a game with yet. Yeah. Mikey Leafeon had Leaf Guard. Moves were Terra Blast, since he was Terra Normal. Swords Dance, Bullet Seed, and Baton Pass. Just in case I went to Source Dance and switch out to, Quaquaval or whatever, or Tinkaton. I gave him a 7 out of 10. He was good since I didn't have a Water type, which means Grass was basically the next best for Rock and Ground types. And Bullet Seed was really good with low dice, basically guaranteeing, 125 base power. But too many weaknesses as a pure Grass type. It's just really hard to switch into Leafeon, to be honest. Weak to Fire, Flying, Ice, I'm missing stuff. Bug. In fact, there's one more. Flying, Fire, Ice, Bug. Come on, you can think of this. I can think of this one last weakness that Grass types have. I don't feel like it. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Finally, we got Siren the Dragonite. I didn't give her. She just had Inner Focus. Draco Meteors, her main Dragon type attack. And then Ice Spinner, Hurricane, and Thunder Punch for coverage. I gave her 9 out of 10. Two legendaries are super good, worth the lengthy Evo level. I actually was planning on using Goomy, then Dreepy, and then ended up using Dragonair. It was just all over the place for who I wanted to use. I don't want it to be a Steel Legendary, I just couldn't decide which one was going to be. Ended up being Dragonite, and she was amazing. Definitely the best member of this team, but it wasn't by much. I feel like she was only just in front of Armor Rouge, but I did give her the edge just because I used her in way more examples than I used Armor Rouge. But, really great. First time I've ever beat... I beat a game of Dragonite before, but it was my first playthrough. And it was a shiny level 100 Dragonite. So, that I got from Wonder Trade. So, yeah. Anyway, team rating, I give this one an 8 out of 10. Slightly being better than the Pokemon Violet team. Everyone contributed in some way. It was my most balanced teams because no one was below a 7. Which means 7 is where you want to be. If the Pokemon is 7, that means it pretty much... I benefit from having it on the team. 6.5 meant it's a little bit underwhelming, and 6 out of 10 or below, you probably gave me a little bit of a negative taste in my mouth after using you. But Lucario fell out of place and didn't. Okay. But Lucario fell out of place and didn't have many team sweepers like the last team. Like, I mean, while this team was way more balanced, I felt like just being able to switch in whoever I wanted, I couldn't really team sweep with anybody here. The only times I could really team sweep was getting lucky with like Tinkaton or Mikey being able to somehow get off a Swords Dance and a Baton Pass. But this team was way more consistent and honestly probably funner to just stick with 6 Pokemon to me. That's probably the way I'm going to play games from now on because keeping 9 Pokemon to high level and also having too many type overlaps kind of ruined the other team for me. But both teams still got high rating. But to end the video, I want to do a Pokemon ranking for each Pokemon. This is going to go pretty quickly. Out of the 15 I used, 15 Scoville, and it was the only one to get below a 7. Just had no purpose on that team. Mabostic and Shiny Beartic, 14 and 13. Both strong Pokemon, but their types didn't really help their cause. Floatzel and Leafeon just behind the top 10. Floatzel was outclassed by Gyarados, and Leafeon didn't have as much power as I expected. Probably because just, I don't know, Leafeon was weird, where I thought it would be better. Both wasn't bad. Just a really average Pokemon. Gardevoir and Lucario were both Pokemon I had high hopes for when I got them. And it didn't disappoint, but they also didn't go crazy. Gyarados at 8. Very strong. But I had Water type that I was constantly switching her out for, which made it a little bit complicated. Before we get to top 5, we got Mousehold and Tinkaton. Both new Gen 9 Pokemon with really OP moves that I wasn't really planning on using before it, but I pretty much enjoyed using them. Top 5, number 5 is Quaquaval. My least favorite starter, but all the starters are really good anyway, so it doesn't matter. It was destined to be top 5. Number 4 is Haxorus. Very strong dragon type with insane attack. The only thing holding him back was maybe not being strong to activate Pokemon, only being strong in Dragon. Number 3, Armarouge. Slightly worse than Ceruledge, but still a great Pokemon. Number 2 is Dragonite. Really benefit from having still legendary on this team. And finally was Skeledirge, the GOAT of these 2 playthroughs. Now this is the end of the video. I'm just going to take a screenshot so I can use this for the thumbnail.